Thank you. A pleasant morning, everyone. All right, welcome to day 2 of the ECC's 5th Professional Development Institute. It is so exciting to have you all here with us today. The theme, you all know the theme? No? Right, a place to belong, a child's right to quality early childhood education. My name is Sharali Pandui, and with me is Shawnette Grant, my co-moderator. As you all know, this track is parenting. We started yesterday with our plenary session entitled Resolving Conflict and Building School Safety Through a Lens of Restorative Justice. It was a riveting discussion, and today will be no different. We have a great day planned for you. We have 2 workshops this morning, and then we'll break for lunch, and we'll have another 2 sessions. Please note, during the sessions, you are asked to write down your questions and comments. The ECC welcomes your feedback, and so there will be an evaluation at the end. There should also be a register circulating for you to record your name. What you want to do for us is to keep PDI trending all week using the hashtags ECC, PDI 2024, and hashtag 12 Standards Matter with your videos and pictures. Now, let's get into our first session, the rights of a child, parents' responsibility. This session will educate parents on the basic rights of their children and discuss their responsibilities to comprehend, guide, and protect them. It's an interactive session, and we crave your participation. Our presenter is Mrs. Mercedes Mayol Lassalle. She is the world president of OMEP, which is Spanish abbreviation, but basically it means World Organization for Early Childhood Education, since 2020, and an elected member of the coordination group of the Collective Consultation of NGOs on Education 2030 to 2025. Put your hands together and make Mrs. Mayol Lassalle welcome.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, dear families and colleagues. Good morning, everybody. I only see women here. The men are there with the technology. But, first of all, I want to introduce myself because I am Argentinian. My mother tongue is not English, so you will notice that sometimes I have problems to understand English, especially some accents, because I am not used to travel to the Caribbean and to be with Caribbean people, so I am really honored, but I have difficulties. So when you speak to me, please think that I am 18 months. I am a child of 18 months. And I was imagining a little room when they say that today I have a workshop. I was imagining a little room with people seated together. So it is a little frightened me, this space. I don't know if I will be really helpful for you in talking about human rights in early childhood in this context. But I want to say also who I am. I was a teacher. When I developed as a teacher, I was studying in a university. I was coming from the country. I lived in the country, in La Pampa. It's near La Patagonia, you know, in a very far and open area. And I born in a school because my family were the directors, the masters of a rural school. So it was destiny. For me, education was a destiny. And when I went to Buenos Aires, a big city with 7 million people, I studied in the university. and I began to work with very, very early years, 0 to 3 years. I was a teacher, and I realized that it was these first years were the most important years of human life, the basis of all the rest of experiences and learnings are forming in this early period. And for that reason, I decided to focus my career pedagogy in this first level, finally 0 to 8. But when I began to work, I realized that teachers can make a lot, can make a difference, but it is important to be supported by legal frameworks, by binding obligations of the states around early childhood children, and because of that I began to be interested also in what happens with the laws in my country and all over the world. And I have many years. I do not want to to say my age, but I am a grandma also. But in those days, there was a discussion around pedagogy and around early childhood in the 70s, in the past century. And it was a discussion about if a child is an object or a subject of rights. And thanks also to the psychological development and the pedagogical development, that we began to affirm that each child since birth is a citizen. What does it mean that it is a citizen, he is or she is a citizen? Means that they are right holders. This is a political definition, and this has taken a lot of time, a lot of struggles all over the world to recognize that children has the same rights of an adult. Sometimes when we compare adults from children, we say adults develop the important things because adults work and children play, because adults are autonomous and children are dependent, because adults get independence and adults and children are totally dependent of adult care. So we are all the time comparing and valuing only the adulthood instead of valuing childhood. And even the struggle for human rights had been very, very long. We have a convention on the rights of the child that this year will have the 35th anniversary. The culture is more strong, the conservative culture in Latin America and the Caribbean and all over the world, because now I am the world president of OMEP, and I have the possibility to travel all over the world to see the cultures, different cultures, to talk with different parents and families, and also with teachers and researchers And I see that the conservative perspectives about the child are totally present. The child is seen always like lacking something, no? Lacking development, with no agency, and this is something that we need to rebuild and we need to rethink together. I have been a professor in the university for the last 20 years in the master degree in policy, and I have seen that even many people talk about the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Nobody had a real knowledge about the Convention. And sometimes they are confused and they think that it is the same of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. The Declaration of the Rights of the Child is very romantic. It established a lot of rights that the child should have, like a name, like protection, like health, like education, but nothing else happens with the declaration. It's only an ethical declaration. And because of that, the United Nations and all the activists, we are part of the activists that moved the idea, we thought that we needed a strongest tool. And this strongest tool is the Convention on the Rights of the Child. And this convention established a new relationship between families, states, and the child. And one of the things that I really love of the convention is in the preamble of the convention, it recognizes that there are many millions of children that are living in terrible situations. They are living experiences connected with poverty, with migration, with wars, with violence. So it is needed that not only the families can be worried or working or protecting the child, but also it is needed to have a strong protection with the commitment of all the communities, of all the states. Well, this is my introduction, and I will love now to see with you a short, very short video that was done in Uruguay. It is far from here, but very near from Argentina, where I come. You know Argentina, no? You know that we won the World Cup of football, no? And Uruguay is always the opposite side in football also. But I love the Uruguayans, and they have an institute, the Inter-American Institute of the Child, and they have delivered some videos that are very nice. We can see it? Okay. And now I will show you one.
Yo quiero que a mí me quieran. Yo quiero tener un nombre. Yo quiero que a mí me cuiden si me enfermo o estoy triste, porque yo quiero crecer. Yo quiero saberlo todo. Yo quiero que a mí me enseñen mi familia y mi maestra, a contar y hacer las letras. Y me quiero divertir, a jugar, a cantar, que me enseñen a ser libre y me digan la verdad. A jugar, a cantar, que me escuchen cuando hablo y que no me hagan llorar. Pero quiero que también todos los niños del mundo tengan todo lo que quiero, pues lo quiero compartir. A jugar, a cantar, que tengan todos los niños en el mundo su lugar. Vamos todos a cantar, para que los niños del mundo tengan todos un lugar. Vamos todos a ayudar.
Todos los niños del mundo merecemos un lugar.
Hope you could read the first part of the video. And it was showing the need and the right of children to be educated, to have a name, to not to be mistreated, and to have a place in our societies. Now I would love to hear about you. I know we are not in the best place, and I want to introduce my colleague, Asia Foster. She is the Vice President of OMEP, the same organization I am running, and she will say hello to you now because she will help me.
Good morning, everyone. So, how do you want them to set up?
We can divide in three, in groups of 3, 4.
Okay. All right, so this part of the session is interactive. So if you're already sitting in a group of 3 or 4, great. If not, can you find some partners so that you can participate in Mercedes' activity? Okay, we know that you are all either parents or you work in early childhood, so you're used to getting in groups and participating. I know it's early in the morning, but we want you to move together and find a partner. So look to your left and right. If you're not in a group of 3 or 4, then find a partner.
The idea is to discuss during about 10 minutes about what do you know about the human rights of early childhood, and also what are the challenges that the realization of this right have inside your families. You can pick a secretary in each group in order to share your ideas later. So the idea is to discuss about the human rights that in early childhood, inside the family, and what are the challenges that you have as families to realize these rights. We will take 10 minutes, and then we will try to share with the limitations of the space to share your ideas and finally to have a conclusion all together. So perhaps there from the 4 people that, or 5 that they are there, you can join and, yes, you can join together, yes?
Okay, so just to reiterate, what you're going to be talking about in your group is what do you know about children's rights? Anything you know about children's rights, and how that knowledge that you have about children's rights is directly related to how it impacts families. So, what do you know about children's rights? And what is the impact on family? What are the challenges, but also the successes that you see around this issue? So children's rights is a very broad topic. There's a lot that's built into that. So thinking about what you know and how it relates to the family.
Well, dear friends, dear parents, dear families, pedagogy is a conversation. I said that yesterday, and we are all learning. I am only coordinating because I am learning too, and we are willing to hear you, so the microphone will circulate.
Yes. Okay, but time-wise, we have time for 2, and then question and answers.
Okay. So.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
4 rights to a child: the right to education, the right to health, the right to having a name, and the right to be protected. Having an education, having a good education so they can be better men and women of the future. The disadvantage of we parent of not having an education, sometimes we are unable to help with homework, assignments, and so forth. The right to health: make sure they are fully immunized and have a proper diet. Not being fully immunized can cause them to be having sickness, all type of sickness, and also, having a name, the right to having a name so they can be easily identified. And also, if the disadvantage is not having a name means they don't have an identity and they don't have a sense of belonging. To be protected, protection. Every child needs to be protected. They need to know that they are safe, whether at home or on the road. And if they don't feel like they're being protected, they can feel neglected, unappreciated, and sometimes it can lower their self-esteem. Thank you.
You got a lot in a very short time period. So, and these are all very, very important ideas. The right to a name that links to your identity, that builds a sense of belonging, are all extremely important. And I think focusing on what you were talking about on education and the impact that education has on the family unit overall, not just educating your children, but the lack of education that exists with families and how it's a deficit sometimes when you're trying to support your child.
Yes, we can go to another group, but for me, it is really very useful. I am very grateful with your presentation because your thoughts, because really the right to have a name is connected directly with the self-esteem, with the evolution of identity, and sometimes we commit some mistakes, even inside the kindergartens or early childhood education settings, because we put a nickname to the child that is not the nickname that they use at home, or we do not recognize it so well, or her, or she, or he. So this is something important. And the other issue that is important is the registration of the child. And not to be, if he or she is not registered legally, to invite the family, to orient the families to register the child. This is very, when I was a child, I lived in the country, I told you that, and it was very normal to have this problem, because the registration office were very far from each home, each family. So I remember that one judge made once a year a festival to join all the families in order to register all the children that had born in the area, and also to deliver some marriages and things like that. That was in the country sometimes it is difficult. In rural areas it is difficult to have all the papers done. So thank you for the group, for the comments, and we can offer the microphone to another group.
Okay, our group shared the same sentiments that was said, but I just want to highlight some of the challenges that comes within the family. So we look at the right for a child to play, and we realize that that right is being deprived even at schools. There are some schools who are so arranged with no play area, and so the children will come home and say they didn't get to play. And then now at home, they are not able to play because their parents are working outside and they're home. And it's not like one time when children could just go on the streets and play in the playpen and play. Now the parent has to be watching them. And so it's difficult, especially in a single family home, for the mother to go outside and watch a child to play. So for the most part, they resort to being on the tablet. One group member shared that that was not her reality because she lived near to extended family. And so her children had a playground, grandma's shop is nearby, and so they get to play. We talk about the right to food, clothing, and shelter. Because of low income and financial challenges, sometimes students are sent to school without food, and they don't have the necessary requirement because most time children were not planned for. Same thing happens with their right to education, the financial constraints. Children don't go to school if parents don't have money, and so they miss out on their education. The right to be protected. You know, homes statistics shows that home is one of the most dangerous places for our children. Most children shared that as a child was when they were abused. And it often happened by somebody who they trust, whether it was their teacher, an uncle, a stepfather, etc. And so those are the challenges that the family proposed for the different rights that were presented.
Again, I'm so impressed with what you can get done in 10 minutes. So a main focus on the importance of play and providing opportunities and spaces for children to be able to play, and the right to safety was another a big idea of recognizing that the home isn't always the safest place for children.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions, because you stress a very important concept around, first of all, that we have many families. There is no the family. We have many families, many formats, extended families, single families. So the problematic is very broad, and it is very important to have the support of not only of the own family, but also from the state. We need to know about human rights, because we need to practice these human rights every day at home, but at the same time we need to know, because we need to advocate. We need to advocate on the communities, inside the institutions, with the government, etc. And one of the things that we are facing nowadays, and with the pandemic was very clear, is that most of the child abuse happens inside the context of the families and the close community. So it is so important to work in that and to work in the right of health, mental health and physical health, and to have the intervention and the cooperation of specialized agents of the public sector. And the other issue is the problem we have in overcrowded cities, in slums, in many difficult environment for children, to have a safe, to develop a safe space for learning. And learning, we learn, children learn playing, children learn moving. And it is so important to know that our brains, the children's brains, are like the Neanderthal. They need to move, they need spaces, they need to run, they need to move around. And we know we are living in very narrow spaces. More of the families have, I remember once a child in a slum in Buenos Aires. It was raining, and that day was not, the kindergarten was closed because there was a training day for teachers. And she was, the girl was in the street crying. And we asked her, what happened to you? I do not enter at home. I do not have room at home. And what happened? Because during the day, the families were sleeping because during the night they collect papers. So during the day, she was in the kindergarten, but the kindergarten was closed, so she didn't have any room. So we need to know that early childhood children in general are going through very difficult time, and it is important to know that they have rights, and these rights are binding obligations for the states. We need to know about them in order to advocate about them. Okay, we can listen 2 or 3 groups, 2 minutes each.
Do you want to take questions? You only have 10 minutes. Does anyone have questions for Mercedes?
My question is, how do we go about saving our children, getting our children at a safe spot? What do we do? What do we say? Who do we go to? Because each time we might speak or say something, it's like it's fall on deaf ears. Nobody is listening. And our children are dying, they are being abused, all different things are happening to our babies. How do we go about getting the relevant authorities to do the right thing?
Yes, we need really to advocate, but also to find networks. I think that in my experience working in very poor communities in Latin America, the best experience is the community work to shape groups, mainly of women. Women are more aware of the needs of children because we are closer of the children for cultural reasons. And it is important to fight together, not to be alone. we need to know that there are laws, and the law should be complained. So should be, how do you say, yes? Accomplished. So, for example, a group of mothers make a denounce against the Minister of Education in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, because they didn't have a vacancy inside the kindergarten. And the offer is a binding obligation of the state. So if the child is out, you can denounce this, this minister, and they did so. So he has the obligation to open more vacancies to receive children. But we know that all the public policies are very fragmented, really are very fragmented. And because of that, I really admire the efforts that has been doing the government here in Jamaica, because not many countries have the organization and the intentions, the aims that you have here. Here you have an open-minded strategy, and this is one opportunity. This is the one opportunity we have to have awareness, to educate ourselves as parents, to know what are the children's rights. And I am focusing all the time in education. Why? Because I said it yesterday, education is not only a right, it is a tool, and it is a tool for us also as adults. When we know more, we can push more. We can denounce more. Today, we have also the social media. We have many tools, but the main issue is to connect the community organizations, the base organizations, in order not to be alone with the problem. And also to connect the governmental services that are in the field, that are near you. We need also, the challenges are many. We have to develop parental capacities. We do not born with parental capacities. This is cultural. This is the consequence of education. We know nothing. It is not natural to be a mother. It is cultural to be a mother. We need to learn. We make many mistakes. We make many mistakes. But at the same time, we are not alone. There are other mothers in the kindergartens, in different settings of care and education. There are mothers in our own families, other mothers, to support us in this process of educating. I remember the first time I got my baby in my arms. I didn't know how to feed her, to breastfeed, no? And there was another woman in the other bed in the hospital who has her mother. I was alone there because my mother was in La Pampa, very far from my home. And this mother, the mother of the other girl, taught me how to feed my baby, because we do not born with this. So it is important to know that we will commit many mistakes, but at the same time we have the obligation, ethical obligation, to develop parental capacity. The other issue for me is very important, and it is inside the law and it is inside the convention, is to share the protection and the rights of the child with the father, with the other members of the family. We cannot assume, because we are women, all the responsibility of raising a child. But not only because of the work, it is because of their identity. In order to develop their identity, the child needs different roles and to connect with different people and different perspectives. Men has more physical contacts and other ways of relationships, and perhaps they solve sometimes the problems very quickly, and we are inside of a problem all the time, and they come with a fresh view in a way. We need to share this parentality. Well, unluckily, we are ending this session. It was so short, and I wanted to hear more people, but well, I hope this will not be the first time to be together, and I invite you to see the last video in order to say goodbye to you and follow this conversation in the hall during these days. Thank you.
¿Quién es la que me sacó la espina y también curó mi herida y mi lágrima secó? ¿Quién es aquel que jugó conmigo y que siempre fue mi amigo y conmigo soñó? ¿Quiénes son los que ahuyentaron mis miedos, mostrando que el fantasma nunca existió? Es mi familia, la que me tuvo en sus brazos y me vio crecer. Son mi familia, son ellos los que me quieren y los quiero. Soy yo, somos familia.
No sound I couldn't enjoy. Did you enjoy that session? All right. I'm sure we all had a better understanding of the rights of a child and agreed with the two groups that shared. Yes? So based on time, we couldn't take all the groups, but we do thank you for your participation. Put your hands together again for... And also for Dr. Foster that assisted her. So at this time, I will turn your attention to the register that is digital. It will be shared on the screen. So you'll scan the barcode and complete it. We also have the evaluation forms. It's a sample, and so everybody might not receive one, but we do ask that if you get one, that you'll complete it and give it to myself or Miss Grant. So that's the barcode for the registration. So we'll stick and stay. Our session begins shortly, the next session. All right?
Pero mi ganga le baila